Alright guys, so I thought I'd do something a little bit different today, as it is a beautiful day outside. So I thought I would, instead of firing up all the studio lights, I thought why not come and do it outside. So it is beautiful outside, so I thought I would show you my new product. So this is a Netgear Powerline, as you can see, 1200. This is a new addition to my kind of network infrastructure at home. This is replacing some faulty Powerline kits that I had, which were TP-Link, and it was only faulty in the respect that once it was in standby, even though my Powerline kit goes straight into a hub with various other Ethernet ports, requesting data, it just wouldn't come out of sleep mode. So I had to unfortunately get those replaced, but here we go. So these are my replacements. Now these are, as you can see, 1200 megabits per second, hence the name. But I just want to let you know, guys, you will never realistically achieve that on Powerline, even though I've got a brand new flat near enough. It's very unlikely I'm going to achieve that speed, but that's fine. I only have 80 megabits per second down and 10 up, so that should be more than enough to accommodate that. So as I say, in the home fixture, which I will show you when we get back into the house, this comes from a wall. It goes into a gigabit switch, which then obviously distributes the various data around the different devices. And in the gigabit switch at home, we have a PS4, Sky HD, we have a Sony TV, and also an Apple TV box. So it has got various demands on it. They're all gigabit, so it's got enough to cope. But we'll go around the features of this and show you what it's like to unbox it, and the performance, and just what it looks like in general. So my last TP-Link I did buy in 2012. After I informed Amazon of the issue, they were very kind to replace it, which was great. So I got £60 in credit, and this is what this come under, just to, And the last ones I had were 500 megabits per second, and was more than enough. So that is great. So the key features we've got here are basically gigabit Powerline speed. We'll just zoom in a little bit here to show you. So we've got gigabit power speed, extra noise filter power outlet. So the ones I did before took up one power outlet, and I didn't have a pass through, whereas these have a pass through, which basically means you don't lose the plug. Perfect for connecting smart TVs, streaming players, game consoles, fine, and obviously ideal for 4K HD video stream, which is great. I mean, I don't own any 4K devices, but in the future that should be absolutely fine. Now these only have 1 gigabit port on there, which is fine for me. As I say, mine goes into a switch anyway. On the box itself, it's just going to tell us the various different bits and bobs, but basically you get 2 obviously Powerline kits to make the pair. You get 2 2-meter Ethernet cables, which is great, because obviously you need them to go into the various devices. So obviously one you would place by your router, then plug it into the mains, and then it uses your existing electrical wiring and to transfer it to the other pair. Now the other one for me is in a separate room. It's about 10 meters away, and then it goes into a switch. Now here we've got obviously a gigabit port, Ethernet port, which is obviously what we need to utilize the speed. And yeah, that's it really. You get a 2-year warranty with it, which is great. And obviously on the side, this is where it gives you various other spec. It's got next generation Powerline, beamforming, which I do presume means the wireless, but this one isn't applicable. Gigabit speed, obviously 1 gigabit Ethernet port each. Pick a plug LED indicator. So one of the big selling points on this is there is an indicator on there of one of the 3, and it gives you a colour indicator. So obviously red is under 50 megabits per second, amber is under 80, and then green is over 80, and obviously is very good, but we'll go for that later on. Energy saving, which is fine. So obviously when this is not in use, it's obviously not going to bother keeping it on full power. Push and secure, so that means how you secure the 2 together, so create an encrypted data connection between them. And obviously, like I said, you get an outlet on it. On the other one, we have got gives you just a diagram pretty much of what's on there. But obviously, on the way this one's designed, on the top there is an Ethernet port, which is where obviously you would connect it. And then obviously you've got the various indicator lights and then the filtered power socket. And obviously, good thing with Netgear, you do get 90 days free technical support if you do run into any issues. On the back of the device, it just kind of shows you a kind of an example of how you would use this. So you would, downstairs is where your router would be, and obviously upstairs is where they want an internet connection, and they can achieve that using this. A couple of things it states here, and I can vouch for this because I gotta be fair, I've used Powerline for years and it is a very reliable technology. Obviously extremely fast, up to 1200 megabits per second, so 1.2 gigabits per second. We've obviously got reliable network, so you can connect multiple adapters to expand your wide network, so it's not doesn't get limited to 2, you can connect as many as you want. It's got MIMO, which basically means packets in, packets out kind of thing. Plug and play, you don't need any software, you plug them in, press the buttons, and away you go. Sometimes you don't even need to press the buttons. Obviously this one's selling feature, it has got a noise filtered power outlet and push and play. And obviously on the bottom then we've got the various barcodes including MAC address. So if your router has MAC filtering, where it only lets specific MAC addresses on there, that's fine, you can add them in. But let's open it up and have a look what we've got here, guys. So obviously this one opens from the bottom up. We've obviously got a quick start guide, which basically isn't going to consist of a lot, but we'll certainly have a look at it. Obviously package content, 2 sets of plugs, 2 sets of Ethernet cables. And this is where we've got our LED indicators, so this is where it's going to tell us the various LED indicators. So pick a plug LED indicators at the top. Ethernet LED, so if you've got an Ethernet port plugged in, that's where it's going to be. And then the third one is the power LED. So if it's green, it's fully working, ready to go. And if it's amber or red, it means that it's in sleep mode. And obviously on the top we have the Ethernet port, factory reset if you wanted to forget your network, and a security button. Now, all of the lights have various different indicators on them. But basically solid green is what you want, and that means the electric power is on and good to go. Obviously a solid amber is in power saving mode, so when data's not in use. Blinking green, it's setting up, process of setting up security, and off is when obviously it's got no electric coming to it. Ethernet, it's either solid green, which is obviously the Ethernet port is in use or is active, or off if there is no Ethernet. So on other ones you do have a blinking LED indicator, which will normally mean that there's data going back and forth. So and that was what I was referring to earlier, the different things. And a factory reset, you obviously just use a pin. And then we've just got some various examples. They do recommend not to plug these into extension leads because it can limit the speed. So in the box itself we obviously have our 2 set of Ethernet cables. They'll obviously be gigabit ready, so that's fine. And then we have the plugs themselves, so obviously they're exactly the same. There isn't one which is more dominant than the other. This is exactly how they look. So if we just take the wrapper off, put that in there for a second. This is itself, so obviously for some reason it's telling us what pin does what, so obviously neutral, live and earth. Obviously got the Netgear brand in there and the 3 LED lights there. Obviously on the side we've got some ventilation, as they can get a little bit warm, but that's not abnormal. Obviously for me it's the 3-pin connector for the UK, and obviously underneath then we've got various other things. So we've got your MAC address, which is the top barcode, got your serial number, and then you've got a PWN, don't know what that means. And obviously it just tells you then what's in use. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It uses 0.2 amp products only, and it can accept 16 amp max load. So that's pretty much, it's obviously indoor use only, and there is obviously the model there. So guys, and obviously on the top you've got your Ethernet port, link, a reset pin. So what we're going to do now, we're going to jump back inside, unfortunately, into the darkness. I'm going to plug it in and just show you my network setup, and show you the various speed tests, just using like a PS4 for example, and see how we get on. Okay, so back into the dark and back into a non-windy environment. I'm going to plug it in, so I've already it's already been wired because I've used it existingly. So basically we pop it in. Now, because I have a plug, my Sky HD box plugged in. Now, as you can see, my connection is green, so that means it's got a very good connection, so 80 megabits plus, which I would expect. It's a brand new house, so it should be very good wiring. And then we're going to plug it in here. Now this Ethernet cable goes down and then actually goes to the other, which goes into a switch round the corner. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to quickly go and pop the other one into the kind of server area and then get them paired together. Okay guys, so as you can see, so from the power line end to the wall, what you've just seen, it goes to this TP-Link, just a gigabit switch, nothing too fancy here. So the far right one, so number 5, is the power line. Then number 4 is then the Skybox, and then number 1 or number 2 is the PS4, and then number 1 is the TV, and number 3 is the Apple TV. So what we're going to do is just look at the PS4 and see what the speed test results come back as. So we're just going to do a very basic speed test now. I would take a lot of this with a pinch of salt to an extent, because this then obviously goes to the PlayStation Network. And I'll give you 2 examples. I'll give you one showing you this, and the Apple TV, which is a better one because that uses speedtest.net. So we're just going to test the connection. Now you can't see it, but the gigabit switch is now obviously blinking like mad as the PS4 now tests the connection. The download is normally pretty good where it needs to be, but the upload normally seems a little bit lower than normal. But that's probably dependent on where the PS4 goes to what particular server. So as you can see, 48 is good. That's pretty much what I get. 52, so that's not far off. But for some reason, connection upload always seems to be a bit lower. So what I'll do now is just get the Apple TV fired up, because that normally gives you a better speed indication. Okay guys, so we're going to use speedtest.net. This is an app on the Apple TV. The Apple TV is hardwired into the hub, so we should get a closer result than normal. As you can see, I am with BT, and the closest server to me is Bournemouth, so we're going to go. And this normally gives me a better indication of my actual speed, which is good. So 26 ping, and then we're shooting up to 47, 48, 49, 50 maybe, yeah, 50 meg. So that's good. We pay for 53, so that's pretty close to what we need. That demo's now complete. Now I should hope it gets to about 10 on the upload. So yeah, 9, 9.2. It'll fluctuate a little bit over, so about 9 megabits per second. So as you can see, the speed results on the PS4 for some reason are always a little bit lower on the upload speed, but that's pretty much what I'm paying for. So pretty good. It's great. I don't do massive transfers through this hub because I have a Synology NAS which sits in the cupboard. But obviously I stream films and that through there, so that's more than enough. So I'm going to quickly show you what it looks like in the other room, but that pretty much concludes that one. Okay guys, so we're here in the kind of network room. It's the top of my cupboard, so it gets very, very warm in here. Unfortunately you can't tell the temperature in here, but it's not cold. So that's why you can probably hear a constant humming noise, which is this. And that is the Synology NAS there. I've got to the point where it gets that warm, I took the cover off for better ventilation because it gets so hot in here. And that sucks the air in. I've put the fans on maximum, which just put out a nice coverage. I do apologise for the horrible mess behind, but when you look at it from the outside, you can't obviously see it, which is great. But anyway, this is where the connection then comes into it. As you can see, all green lights, which is good. There is data going back and forth, so as I say, the lights do just stay still. The connection goes from there. Obviously it's powered. I didn't have to press the security button on the top. I just literally plugged 2 in and it works. So what it does then, there is an Ethernet cable which goes under here, and thanks to my very neat cable management which I have achieved, as you can see, spent a lot of time with cable ties doing this. It then goes to this gigabit switch. Now this first one here in port 5 goes to the BT home hub, which is all the way up there. Now as you can see, there is an orange Wi-Fi light. That's to indicate the Wi-Fi is off on the BT home hub. I don't have it on because I have a separate access point by Ubiquiti, which I will show you now, which is just situated up, hidden behind the door, and that then obviously goes back to the hub. So from the hub, it goes one cable, big fat cable comes here. That then obviously is distributing the data across the house. So this one here, this yellow one, goes up to the power line up there. Number 3 here goes to the distribution block here, so the power over Ethernet connection, which is for the Ubiquiti access point. The second white one goes to the Synology, so that keeps it. And as you can see, because everything's got 2 lights on it on each port, that means it's a gigabit connection, so that's great. And the fourth, obviously the number 1 and number 1 is actually a cable which runs under the carpet into my bedroom, but nothing's occupying it just yet. Now, as you can see, I've done it in a way to keep it nice and neat, because this is our primary storage over various different things. But as you can see, it runs under the beam there. But that is basically what is running the house. And obviously we have another hub obviously in the living room which then connects everything else. But that, guys, is my little network update for you. But that is a great addition to the house, these Netgear Powerline kits. They really are performing really well. So thanks for watching.